Every month we have this conversation. Yes, we could buy cheaper collagen, but do you know what? I would not be taking it. So we created a formula in our kitchen and launched it into a market that did not exist, which is absolutely wild. Nobody believed in us. Darcy was straight out of uni. I had no business experience. We've launched a formula. We created our kitchen to a market that didn't exist. Nobody would have ever backed us. We spend about 50% of our resource on getting new customers and about 50% on keeping the customers that we have. We always say that Absolute Collagen is an emotional brand backed by science, and I'm definitely the emotion, Darcy is the science. And that's why it works.
My guest today turned a kitchen table idea into a £30 million business. Bootstrapped, family run, and one of the strongest subscription brands in UK consumer. Maxine and Darcy Laceby from Absolute Collagen. Welcome to Treyd Secrets.
Hi, thank you for having us. Thanks for having us.
Really excited to have you here. Maxine, you were making bone broth in your kitchen long before this was a company. How did your friends and family react when you said you were going to turn this into an online subscription business?
Well, it was never anything I thought. It just happened organically. So my friends were using it, I was feeding it to my friends, and then other people started asking for it. And it was just like, okay, how can I do this? What do I need to put in place? I need to build a website. The subscription was all about making their life as easy as possible. As a woman, I know my to-do list is huge. So I didn't want them to have to keep ordering it. So a subscription was the best way forward. So it was never a sit-down moment, and there was no strategy to it whatsoever. It was just putting her, the absoluter, the person who wanted it, right at the forefront and making her life as easy as possible.
Yes, fascinating. Almost accidentally starting one of the best subscription businesses in the UK. So that's impressive. And Darcy, you actually do have the food science degree here. And when your mom brought her collagen theory to you, what was the scientific take on that? And was that part of deciding to join and build a business?
So I kept going home from uni, and Maxine just kept building up these big vats of pig's trotters and chicken feet, essentially. That's what it was there. And boiling it down. And I kept looking at her thinking she was crazy. And I was like, what are you doing? I was lucky enough that on my university degree for my coursework, I could just do it on any product. So I was like, just take that stuff in she's, been making in the kitchen. Because we knew it was bone broth, but we weren't sure what was giving her these benefits, being that like skin, hair, just general kind of confidence and well-being and feeling a little bit better. So then could use the labs in uni to kind of have a look at it. And we figured out it was actually collagen, and the best form of collagen, funnily enough, was not from Maxine's kitchen pig's trotters chicken feet thing, but it was from marine collagen that we then found a manufacturer for it and sourced it basically. But it was all about how can we make the best product with the maximum ingredients, the minimum, the stuff the customer doesn't need. Because at the end of the day, the consumer was my mum and her friends. We really built a product for them.
How well known was this collagen? Now I guess almost a movement, or back then. Was this a new thing, or?
I think we're responsible for that movement. So when I looked up from my pots, I looked at what was already out there, and there were skin supplements, but none of them were just collagen. And I knew that Darcy sort of worked out that collagen was absolutely the hero product. That was having the hero ingredient that was having the effect. And so I didn't want to put anything else in it. It was literally just collagen. And yeah, it's quite crazy, really. So we created a formula in our kitchen and launched it into a market that did not exist, which is absolutely wild. So think how massive it is today.
And maybe related to that, you've also essentially bootstrapped the business, growing this without a lot of external capital, when a lot of, I guess, competitors and other supplement brands have been using a lot of external capital. What could they do that you couldn't, and what was good or bad about that choice to stay bootstrapped for a long time?
We started off bootstrapped, and then we sought investment, and I'll let Darcy talk about that. But yeah, so it was my money to begin with. And actually, when we look at our journey, nobody believed in us. Darcy was straight out of uni. I had no business experience. We launched a formula. We created our kitchen to a market that didn't exist. Nobody would have ever backed us, I believe, at that time. But yeah, so we did end up getting investment. Well, in the early days, there was no competition. So we were genuinely, when my mum started making collagen, when Maxine started making collagen and her friends wanted it, we genuinely tried to find a product for them to buy online and just be like, go buy this product. And I think it will do the similar job. There wasn't anything. So when we launched our product and started making it, it was really early on, so people didn't really understand what it was or what collagen did. And we had to do the education piece, but there wasn't anyone saying the same story, the same narrative as us, because we were genuinely first to market in what we did, which was really helpful. And so by the time we took investment, which is 3-4 years on, we were able to really scale it with the message and the proof points that we'd kind of discovered in the past 3 to 4 years prior to that. But yeah, so that helps to answer your question, really, that no one was doing what we were doing when we started.
Yeah, and how were you selling in the beginning, in the early years versus now, in terms of, your channels and your marketing, and because now you're quite grown up, to say the least, as a business.
Yeah, if I start talking about it, literally was direct to consumer to start with, which again everybody thought we were crazy, because back in 2017 nobody was really direct to consumer. And we did that because we wanted to educate her. We wanted to have a relationship with her. Well, in the early days as well, we stripped everything out via large letter, which is a Royal Mail fulfillment postal service. It enabled us to get really cheap, good, efficient postage rates. We actually made the conscious decision from the early days as well to do all our own fulfillment. So we used to do that from home, and we'd have the delivery person come around to our house and pick up orders every day, which was quite strange. But that hasn't really changed much in terms of how we ship out our product. We still have the same box format, although iterations of the products has changed. What has fundamentally changed is the approach to channel distribution, and also marketing distribution. So in terms of channels, we were 100% direct to consumer in the early days, so you can only really buy it from our website. But now we have a presence on Amazon, also with Boots. So Boots is the UK's biggest health and wellness retailer, really. So they have over 1,000 stores and big online footprint of BE health retail and that kind of thing. Fundamentally, the business model is still as it was in the early days, and yeah, we're happy. Subscription makes total sense with our product. People need to take it for a minimum of 12 weeks. So we get that with the subscription, and it makes sense.
What share of the business is subscription versus one-off, if you can sort of...
Yeah, about 80%.
How is that big? And that's despite, or not despite, but... And then you're still succeeding on Amazon and through Boots and so on.
So direct to consumer is about 80%, but Amazon Subscribe and Save, it's quite difficult to actually get much data from there, but there's significant portions of people that subscribe on Amazon. And then Boots, we see the repeat purchase, and we can look at we have this thing called Advantage Card with Boots, so we can look at the ad card data to see which propensity of customers, be it their age or demographic, have the most likelihood to come back and repeat buy as well, so we can target them better and more efficiently.
How much do the sort of retention differ between the variants, if you're buying sort of one-offs from Boots or Amazon versus actually signing up to a subscription with you on your D2C?
One-offs, even D2C, one-offs are significantly less. They have significantly less lifetime value, because it's just harder to get someone to you've got added a friction point there, pain point, by getting them to come back and do an action by subscribing or buying a second box. Amazon, we have pretty good repeatability. Whilst we do access a lot of new customers, a lot of our sales come from existing customers, that will just repeat buy, because we've profiled the postcodes of our customers on Amazon versus our store before, and we have noticed they are quite different customers. And someone generally, if they like to shop on Amazon, they like to shop on Amazon. And Amazon's moved so much more from a world that, you're just selling products and commodities to, your brand treatment pages on Amazon can now actually really tell a story and actually look quite nice. So Amazon can really be a place to entice people into your brand now, as opposed to just somewhere to shop it.
And could you describe, what's your retention strategy? If you have 80% subscription, that people would kill for that, more or less, right? With the unit economics of something like that. But what do you do to actually create that strong retention on a higher level?
Yeah, if I talk on product, so for a start, we have a product that actually works. Our kind of key pillars are pure, proven, and powerful. We genuinely have the biggest clinical trial on a collagen supplement globally that's been peer reviewed. It's the gold standard of supplements in terms of Absolute Collagen versus the rest of the collagen market, and people genuinely know it works. We have 60% increase in skin elasticity after 12 weeks compared to placebo. 27% increase in new hairs on the head after 12 weeks, again, compared to placebo. We spend about 50% of our resource on getting new customers and about 50% on keeping the customers that we have. Maxine, you can speak on better than me on the more emotional side and the engagement of customers and the work we do there as well, because that's a big part of Absolute Collagen, is the post-purchase journey.
Yeah, I think that's why I think we won at the beginning, because I wanted a relationship with the Absoluter. I'd been on online before we even started, reaching out to brands, asking questions. They just never got back to me, and I just thought I never ever want that. So when the day we went live, I put a community manager in to answer questions, and so we built an emotional relationship. They feel like they're part of, and it's never about wanting to look 21. It's about feeling your best and being the best version of you. And we really empower that. And I think Absolute Collagen really empowers women. We don't say fight the signs of aging. No one looks good after a fight. It's about really believing and seeing, and we know if she feels good, she looks good, and vice versa. And our clinical trials prove that the looks, it does work. And I think building that emotional support and emotional brand is really important. So we always say that Absolute Collagen is an emotional brand backed by science, and I'm definitely emotion. Darcy is the science, and that's why it works. And it's not, can't just be all about new customer. And we did focus on the new customer for a long time. And of course, that's what Meta wants you to do. It wants you to keep focusing on the new customer, but actually the customers you've already got are really important. So you've already paid for them. They're your tribe. They're the people that connect with the brand, making sure they stay. So building a relationship and not just trying to sell them stuff, but I've literally just done a video now we've got a community Facebook page. It's a closed page, and it's just for our Absoluters. And I've just done a video saying, hi guys, what do you want? Fill out the survey. What can we do? How do you want us to show up for you? And it really is putting the focus back on her and really empowering her. And I think that emotion is really important. And I think it's felt through all of Absolute Collagen, actually. But obviously the data is, marry the data and the emotion.
Yeah. On that theme, so obviously you've scaled this up to enormous volumes, and creating that sort of experience, emotional community, etc. What are the activities? Perhaps what happens in the first 30 days as a customer of Absolute Collagen? What are the activities that you actually do? Is it emails or calls, or can you just give me a practical sense?
Yeah, of course. So you subscribe today, your order will be shipped on the same day, and generally you'll get it the next day. In every first order, we have a welcome booklet. So it explains all about the product, all about Absolute Collagen as a brand, why Maxine started the company, what they can expect. So setting expectations for results and also their experience as a customer, I think is really important. Our products generally are liquid collagen or powdered collagen. So you mix it in a coffee or water, or you take it straight from the sachet, and it's kind of like a thick, bloopy consistency. Setting that expectation up for a good experience is really, really key. And then also setting expectations about the results that they're going to see when they're with us. But also saying the kind of, negatives as well as the positives. Like, you're not going to see results on day 1, 2, 3. You're going to have to wait 6, even 12 weeks for those results. We follow that up with email flows. Again, basically reinforcing the same message. What we really try and do as a brand is have our messaging hierarchy, have the emotional message. Like, when we've got a customer to commit to purchasing Absolute Collagen, they are bought in on the benefits, but then how do we really get them to connect with the brand? And normally we do that through talking about the fact that we're B Corporation certified, for instance, or we talk about the charity work that we do with our partners, and things like that, and sharing the journeys of other customers with them. You also get invited to a closed community. So we have a closed community that basically, once you subscribe, you get a password to, and that's not managed by us. It's self-regulated by our customers. I think it has about 20,000 people in, but it's our Absolute as our customers sharing the journey that they're on, asking questions and troubleshooting for each other. So if someone's struggling with, I don't know, how do you remember to take it every day, for instance, people can share tips about that. If someone is not seeing results or not seeing the results that they thought they were supposed to see, they'll pop that in there, and someone might come in and be like, well, how about this? Have you seen improvements with this? They're like, oh, I have actually. And then the customer's like, oh, that can be the collagen. Because collagen's this massive thing. It's the main structural protein in your body. It's literally everywhere. It's not only for your skin, it's in your joints, your ligaments, your tendons. So we generally talk beauty benefits and skin, hair, nails, but there's so many other benefits to collagen that people don't realize when they start the journey with us. And then it will just be getting their second box, their third box. And then when they hit certain milestones, we do like loyalty gifts. Once you get to a year with us, you get a free full-size skincare product, which is around £50 in value, for instance. Maxine does customer calls every week.
I do this afternoon.
Yeah, I do customer calls every week. We do a lot of events with our customers. So we have a lovely office here, and inviting them for breakfast, just generally talking and connecting to them as well. So there's quite a lot of afterthought that goes into what we do. And in the early days, we used to handwrite notes, which we used to go through absolutely shitloads, of gold Sharpies, and they'd just dry out because you'd just be signing and signing and signing. We bought loads, didn't we?
We did.
But we also used to write, like, at Christmas, we were like, write Christmas cards to all our customers and things like that. So there's a lot to do, and we have a lot of like little freebies, like nail files or eye masks that we'll send out as well. So there's actually quite a lot that goes into after the first purchase, to be fair.
And we started doing that way before anyone else even. It was just, to me, it was a natural thing to do. And I think with the, I'll talk about emotion and data and science. I think even with the emails going out, you want them to be informative, but they've got to be emotional. There's got to be a connection there. And I think if you bring the right customers in who connect with your brand, they're more likely to stick and stay and like what you do and connect with it. I think, we went through a phase of growing really fast, and it was all about new customers, as I said earlier. And we cast the net so wide, we were going after customers that really didn't relate to the brand, and we were wondering why they weren't sticking. And actually, by closing that net and going for more targeted audience, it's made us stronger, and your lifetime value goes up. And I don't think people understand that as much. Yeah.
That must have been quite a scary decision.
Yeah. One of the things we've also stuck by quite a lot is our demographic and our core customer and our core absoluter and who she is. If you look at market data and where the market's going, generally a lot more younger people are really getting into collagen. But our core customer is kind of 35 to sort of 50. I keep saying Maxine, but you're now 60.
I am 60.
So she's now on the teetering on the edge of our customer base.
Out of ICP.
Well, yeah, but I guess today is our 9th birthday as a business, so it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think the demographic is definitely getting younger.
Yeah, so it's okay. How do we not lose pace with market, but how do we still speak to our core and still resonate with them? And that's something that we've toyed around, and well, not toyed around, it's very serious actually. Talked around a lot recently and the past kind of couple of years, but we're in a really good place with we know exactly who our customer is, and we know exactly who is going to benefit the most from Absolute Collagen, and we've tested different things and different demographics, and we always come back to our kind of core customer every single time, her attitudes, her habits, where she lives, what she does, what she spends her time on, what she spends her money on, those kind of things.
And also going back to what you said about, was that scary? It was terrifying. So when we decided, so it was kind of like a couple of years ago, we just, there something wasn't right. And it came to a head probably last year. And I sat in this boardroom in one trade meeting, and I just said, something's not right. Something is not right. And this is what I believe founders have. We have this kind of, and it sounds so fluffy. You know, we've got a CEO, Darcy's all the science, and I am the kind of like, something's not right. And we're bringing in all these new customers, and we were losing loads as well. And I just said, I think we need to stop acquiring customers and really focus on where we are. And it was absolutely terrifying for the team. But I knew with all my heart, with every cell in my body, I knew it was the right thing to do. And yes, we did go backwards, and I knew we would, and that was fine. But it made us really focus on who she is and bring in a quality customer. And, you know, we did that sort of November last year. And what we're seeing now is the customers are sticking more. And, you know, it is a brave thing to do, but it's the right thing to do. But as I said earlier, Meta just wants you to go after new customers all the time. You know, we're not always digital, but you've got to nurture that base as well. I think it's really important, and make sure the customer is so tempting for a brand to go, oh God, people are 20 are using collagen. We need to jump on that. We need to jump on this. We need to jump on that. But when you do that, you cast your net so wide, you get people that don't resonate with the brand, and they won't stick. And I think it's just really about focusing that. And yeah, it was a terrifying time, but absolutely the right thing to do.
I think I mean, all of this that you've spoken about for the past, several minutes here, it's a very different approach to build a subscription business to any other sort of direct to consumer, right? It's not something you can add on the side, it sounds like.
Yeah, for us, we have an amazing ecom team and UX team and Crow team that will optimize the site, but our site it's optimized, but it's some of the direct to consumer subscription brands are forcing, even as bold as having the product display page as the homepage, are forcing you through that funnel. Like there's the discount messaging, there's if you add another one, you're going to get this free, you're going to get this free. And it's optimized fully for conversion. But we know the way in which we've built the business and the brand, our conversion rate is good, but the little extra things that we do, and we've A/B tested most of them, significantly adds to that lifetime value, and that nurtured journey from a customer really, really helps. And it's interesting. We talk a lot about our science, especially after first purchase, because often 50% of people now come to us and they've tried another collagen brand, and that figure obviously before was significantly lower. But often they leave. Customers will leave, and that they'll churn, but they'll come back because they know about the science that we've put in. They saw a decrease in results. We even measured that in our clinical trial. We had a subset of people that stopped taking the product after 12 weeks, and they came back after 8 weeks, and we did the measurements again. And in 100% of people, their results were significantly reduced. So we just try and reinforce that habit message. One of the big things as well is taking it every day versus every other day. And we've got data on our company on Absolute Collagen versus other collagen brands. And I know that the amount of people that take Absolute Collagen every day is significantly higher. It's about 6 out of 7 days people generally take it for. But compared to other collagen brands, that's 3 or 4 days a week. And that also ties in the quality of the customer. So you might get 20 great customers or whatever, you might get 1,000. But if they're not quality and they don't resonate and they don't take every single day, their lifetime value goes down. So you really got to build that. I think it gets overlooked a lot, to be honest with you. And I think that is why we're different, and probably why I've just been awarded an honorary doctorate in business, actually. Did I actually just say that?
Wow, Dr. Maxine.
I know.
So doctor, it's fascinating to me that the depth of an amount of work in building that sort of community and subscription is I think unusual, and obviously giving results. I'm also curious, are there drawbacks to that subscription? What I'm thinking of, for example, is is like changing price, launching new products, testing new demographics, etc. Are you also, is there a risk of getting more stuck because of, like, we have our community and our tight ICP and their own subscription?
One of the biggest issues that we face is pricing. And that's because we have a fundamental rule that no one should be better off buying our products somewhere else versus our website. So you're always going to get the best offer if you come from our website or come to our website. That fundamentally gets us in some interesting conversations with retailers because, one, you can't price fix, and two, they're like, well, I want to match your price. And so they want to match our price, fair enough, but then they're going to do an offer and then they're going to be way lower than us. So fundamentally, that is quite a tricky one for us to navigate. We have quite a sufficient customer service team. The team are great. We try and manage the journey as much as possible. And also, if you have, our business model is very predictable, which is great from like a forecasting point of view. But you see it especially with the subscription. If there's kind of a downturn in the economy, you see that consumer trust go a bit. You see churn figures jump up, and you can literally kind of predict that's going to happen by the state of the news. To be honest, half the time.
You can probably publish a macroeconomic index based on your cancellation rates then.
Oh, one of the things we did once was obviously if it's nice weather, people aren't on their phones, are they? And so we literally pulled for the past year the temperature every single day and our new customer numbers. And you could literally see on the times when it's nice weather or warm outside, our customer numbers were significantly lower. Like it literally mirrored the weather. It was bizarre.
It's really interesting though.
Yeah. This weekend is it's bank holiday. So everyone
nice weather.
Yeah.
Everyone has Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, and it's like 30 degrees, and we're like, it's payday, but we'll probably have a terrible week. Everyone's going to be outside, which is a positive because also we're in Boots. So Boots is a retailer on the high street, and because people are outside, they're walking around going into Boots. So we've kind of covered that one, but direct to consumer can be a bit tricky.
And a bit of hedging, at least you can also smile in the sun when new customer acquisition is going down. Another theme that I would love to dig into is, at least from the outside, you've done a transition from the early days of, you're essentially creating a category. And when I read early interviews, I hear you, Maxine, talking about getting as much collagen as possible for as low price as possible to a customer. And when I listen and read about you in more recent years, it's not so much about that sort of collagen per pound, it's about the quality, the right amount. It's a whole different type of, going from almost like a value to a premium. Or can you tell me about that journey for the company and the brand?
Yeah, I think the landscape's changed phenomenally. Collagen was not a commodity when we were first buying it. Now it's a commodity with so many brands opening up. And what they want to do, whether it's the fish or beef or the cattle, they want to grow the animal really fast. And so they'll fill it full of hormones, antibiotics. We don't touch that. Yes, there is some husbandry to any farming but we only buy high quality, pure. Somebody will say to me, there's only 8 grams of collagen in yours and there's 13 grams of collagen in this one, but I know the potency, the power of ours is a lot stronger, and ours is clinically proven. So we do talk about that an absolute lot because the market's changed. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, the people that are just going for conversion, new customer, they're more lifestyle brands. What we're building is a brand with longevity, a brand that stands for something, a brand that really cares. And that is complete difference. We don't run our business from the spreadsheet. It's not ever about the bottom line. Darcy and I will have many conversations in the boardroom. Yes, we could buy a lot cheaper collagen. Every month. Every month we have this conversation. Yes, we could buy cheaper collagen, but do you know what? I would not be taking it unless we can find something that's the same quality as what we're buying now. And Darcy would talk about the quality. We were the only single collagen brand that's actually gone out and audited their supplier. Everyone else has just used the manufacturer's auditors. audit. And, you know, all those things are really important to us because, you know, this is a family business. We want to stand up and be counted. You know, and really be absolutely sure about what people put in their bodies.
In doing this almost transition then from not commodity, I don't know how to say it, so it sounds wrong, because in the beginning collagen was the thing, right? That was the new thing, and now it's all about this science-backed differentiated premium collagen. How have you managed that transition, I mean, both internally and as a brand? Because it's something that I would imagine a lot of people are trying to do, to build a premium, long-lasting brand. What has been your lessons from doing that?
For us, it's been the last sort of probably a year ago, we really had to sit down and think, like, what is our key message that we're trying to do? We were trying to do too much as a company. Fundamentally, our product hasn't changed. Like, our product is the same. It's still the same as the beginning. It's still the same dose. It's been upgraded slightly with different things for better, you know, taste, texture, those sorts of things. But fundamentally, the product is the same and what people are buying is the same. What really changed for us is the landscape in which we sit in. So we have always done everything right, like Maxine says, from a scientific, from an ethics point of view. But it's like, okay, let's take a check on the external market. What are other people doing? And one of those steps, for instance, in that process was B Corp, for instance. So that's a really great ESG certification. We were doing everything to get that certification anyway. It was just the rubber seal of approval on the end. Our clinicals, we use the same product. We have tested our product on thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, and blood clinicals was that rubber stamp of approval. Pricing also, liquid collagen pricing sits around Absolute Collagen because Absolute Collagen were the first to do it. So pricing generally fell from our architecture in terms of the hierarchy of it. So again, it was, okay, what's the real message that we want to show here? We were doing it already. Our fish is sourced from 27 farms within a 100-mile radius of the manufacturing facility. The fish are processed within 48 hours. Our product is incredibly pure, incredibly powerful, and incredibly potent. So how do we talk about those messages a bit more? How do we grow up a little bit as a brand? But fundamentally, nothing changed. And I think, especially when brands go to new markets, like, your product shouldn't change, your offering shouldn't really change, and like the audience might change a little bit, but if you're fundamentally changing your product to your offering, you're changing your business model and how you're gonna, you know, it might succeed, but how are you gonna make this succeed? And for us, it was nothing fundamentally was changing. It was just pulling on the strings that we're already doing anyway, but refining the message. So pure, potent, powerful, for instance, and really talking about what consumers care about. Because if you went on our website 3 years ago, there was about 30,000 different messages that me and Maxine wanted to tell everyone, and no one really knew which message to look at. For instance, they go on Instagram, they go on TikTok, they go on Pinterest, they go on YouTube, they go on our website, they'll go on our email flows. The message they were getting was different, the branding felt different. And one of the points in us growing up as a brand over the last 2 years is getting some really great people in place from like a brand leadership point of view. And now those platforms are absolutely solid. The customer doesn't realize if they're getting an email from us, going on our website, going to YouTube. The message is consistent and coherent. And I think that plays a big role in it. But also for us, it was, okay, direct to consumer, you know, you get to a point where you need that extra visibility from a retailer. So it was about, let's do that at the right time. It wouldn't have made sense for us to go into retailers in the beginning because collagen wasn't understood. So for us, it was just building on what we were already doing, refining our message, and also then getting the product into different, more accessible places for consumers.
And also being brave and having the courage of looking at what you've built and standing by it. So when we were the first, and then other brands started coming in, and certainly over the last couple of years, there's been so many cheap brands coming in and selling really cheap collagen. We had to really look at, like, hang on, how the hell are they doing that? Like, how are they doing it? And that's when we looked at their collagen and said, absolutely, we won't touch that. You know, single source collagen is really important. And as I talked about, hormones, antibiotics. So for us, it's about standing up and being counted and standing by what you truly believe in.
Yeah. It's interesting that, I mean, there's another theme of mine in my head that I'm really curious about. Essentially, let's call it building trust in a skeptical category, right? I mean, supplements in general, and I guess collagen is no difference. A lot of people, when you see and hear, is like, is this snake oil or is this the the magic wonder new scientific thing. How, and you're obviously spending a lot of time and effort and money on the scientific side of things. What's your lesson from standing out in that category, which must have changed a lot when all of these cheaper alternatives are coming in?
I mean, what I will say is that competition is good. Everyone needs competition, right? And you, as a brand, you need competition. What I will say is, if somebody wants the equivalent of cheap white sliced bread, because that's all they can afford, that's all they can afford. You know, I have a choice. But we're not the cheap white sliced bread.
Sure.
And I think that's how I simplify things. But Darcy will obviously talk in a little more scientific. For us, we have a product that's the top of its game. So, but once you're at the top, you're not going to stay at the top unless you iterate, improve, and evolve. And we're never, you know, we got some really great market research back a couple of years ago that, you know, we are the biggest market share, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't really matter. Like, we didn't really care about that because it's like, well, that gives someone else the opportunity to come in and nab that spot. So for us, it's about constant iteration, constant evolving, and never being like happy and constantly almost being dissatisfied with everything that we do. Our product, for instance, like, you'll see this one sachet that, you know, is our core hero product. We've had 8 versions of that product and people don't see that. So we're constantly, in the beginning, collagen was about efficacy, and I don't care if it doesn't taste good because something that doesn't taste good is good for me. Now, with the evolvement of the manufacturing of it and the processing of it and the development of it, you can get a collagen product that tastes generally really good. So customers want both. They want something that tastes good. They want something that's good for them. They want something that's going to work. We were historically liquid. The powder market is a lot cheaper because it's a cheaper product to make than a liquid product. That makes it more accessible to people. So we've launched a range of powders. And now we've really tiered our products. So we've got accessible price points for people coming into the market. Then we've got our pro ranges and our targeted ranges for specific hair benefits and specific skin benefits. So it's that constant evolution and never standing on, you know, you think you're never safe. I think, as Darcy said, you know, you always have to be dissatisfied, always. Otherwise, you've got to, science changes, the world changes, everything's changing. You have to be dissatisfied. And obviously it's very difficult for us. We don't always want to tell the team that, because you also want to, you know, beef them up as well.
Well, we've had an amazing new website, and it's stunning and it's functional and it works really, really well, and it converts really, really well. But we briefed that in a year and a half ago. We're a high growth business. Like, the business has changed a lot. Like, we've actually got different products than we thought we would a year and a half ago. So what we once briefed in on the website, you know, that website took a year to build, test, like, go live. So we've had it for 6 months now, and it's amazing. But it's like, well, what are we doing next? What's version 2 of it? Because we can fundamentally make it better and improve. And I do think that's hard from a team point of view to, like, constantly iterate and constantly want better when you just feel like, I guess they feel like they're chasing their tail a little bit, just constantly over to the next thing.
And something we're not very good at as a family is celebrating success. And, you know, and we have to, with the team, you have to stop and go, Jesus Christ, that's really good, and really celebrate it.
Maxine thinks we're basically constantly failing. That's your kind of bar. So if something goes well, I have to message her and be like, this is actually a good thing. Can we tell people it's a good thing?
Which is really weird, because I'm actually a very positive
You are
person.
very positive.
But what I will say, and this is what makes a leader, this is what makes a founder, this is what makes an entrepreneur, is the horizon is always there. You never, ever reach it, ever. You get there and it changes. So I think for the absoluter, you always have to be striving for more. But yeah, I do have to tell myself, and Darcy will tell me lots, that that's a good thing to celebrate.
It's the, well, you've got ADHD, so sometimes it's the bluntness. With the bluntness over message can come across as quite blunt, I think.
Yeah, so somebody posted in our channel the other day, oh, we had all these new channels, new customers, and I picked out one and said, well, what about that one? And Darcy was like, hang on, like, it's a celebration. So that is, and, you know, people are aware of ADHD, but I have to work on it as well. You know, I'm the minority.
Yeah, but I do recognize a lot about it. I can't barely remember us celebrating anything either. I guess it's the natural founder mentality. Focus on what's broken that needs
Well, to be
fixing.
fair, what we try and do is have like events. So today it's our 9th birthday as a business. So we've got like a bake-off event, and like we'll just put, if we've planned something in those milestones, we'll all have a really lovely celebration together.
Well, Darcy
That
was
helps.
looking at something the other day, and somebody said, "Oh, I've been named in Forbes." And Darcy was like, "Oh, I got named in Forbes a couple of years ago," but we never even kind of. I know it's not good, is it? I mean, that's huge.
It's funny, we're not the biggest champions for our business, but if someone was like, "Can you sell someone else's business for them?" You'd be straight up there, talking all the most positive things. But I think it's just that restless dissatisfaction, isn't it?
Yeah, which makes an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you're strong champions for your product. That is very clear. And one thing I wanted to ask about is related to that. Sorry to go back a little, but you do all of this investment in studies, clinical work, certifications, ingredient transparency. Is it even a measurable thing? Can you see it in conversion and retention, or is it more something deeper, longer term? Is it a marketing budget fundamentally?
Yeah, exactly. And our science program is split into different areas, and is that kind of credibility piece.
I mean, look on the website. There's our clinical page is phenomenal.
Yeah, and for us, what's really interesting is the development of organic search and the LLMs and things like that, and being around for the longest and having the best clinicals and the best data on our product is really positive for the citations the LLMs pick up on. So that's been a real game changer for us, actually. We know that brands actually will say they're clinically proven when they're not. We know that brands will lie about their pricing strategies and can make it confusing for consumers. We know that brands will do their clinical trials on double the dose, for instance, because their product isn't as quality as ours. And then they'll tell, they won't disclose that to consumers. But we definitely see an uptick, especially with the credibility. It allows us to, one of our big pillars in sort of our brand is our experts and our doctors, our dermatologists, our trichologists, and they wouldn't come on board without the scientific credibility that we have. They would turn down other collagen brands. So whilst you can't necessarily instantly measure conversion, the halo effect that has and the people that we have access to, the science that comes through to us. And when we look at sentiment about our brand, about Absolute Collagen, the thing that comes up is trust, credibility, and science. And what we're trying to do here is build a brand that's going to be around for 99 years, not just 9 years. And that's only going to happen if we've built those foundations within science and built a credible future for collagen and Absolute Collagen.
And I think the supplement industry is going to come under scrutiny, and quite right. It should. Absolutely so it should. And we're there. We're ready for it. And I welcome it, whereas other brands might be running away from it.
That must be a good feeling to be able to sleep well at night.
Give us a...
Our family motto is always do the next right thing, and in business. And Maxine's like, that's your saying, so your head hits the pillow at night and you can sleep.
I think, when we started business, I was in it with my children, and I just thought, all we ever have to do is the next right thing. But your next right thing and my next right thing are different because we've got different values. But for us, it really is. I am so proud of our values and principles in the business. We don't do anything illegal or wrong. No, but I mean, there's so many brands that, like you say, confuse the customer.
Oh, yeah.
Say they've got clinicals when they haven't. It's the manufacturers, or double dosing, the scaremongering. I don't want to have to scare people into buying a product. I just don't think that's fair or right. So yeah, I'm really proud of what we've built, to be honest with you.
You should be. I could do this all day, but I also have to ask, it is this whole transition to multi-channel, from like having that close community with with her, as you're even calling it, including with science backed and all this, and then transitioning to also having relationships through marketplaces or through retailers that are not yours. How do you transition that community, the closeness into the new type of customer and the new channel?
For us, it was finding the retail partners that want more than a transactional relationship. So if we're just going to put our product in shelf and leave it, we're not going to do that. We work incredibly closely with our retailers in terms of the additional activations that we can do. So if we launch, we'll do a in-store launch party. We'll invite our customers there. We split, say, our influencer channels into direct to consumer, then the retailers, so we can kind of keep that kind of closeness. And they're going into store, they're sharing the experience they're getting in stores. We do a lot of education with the store teams as well. We go into a lot of stores and speak to them.
And we go and look for the managers. We talk to them. They know us. We were filming there last week, and in a few of them, and obviously we always ask for permission. We do things properly.
Yeah. So it's just aligning with someone that wants to do the same thing as you and wants to have the same sort of morals, values, and principles. But for instance, in our retail boxes, we have little booklets that will explain about the journey and the brand and talk that through. We're really, I think behind me actually, is our retail shelves. So shelf trays that really talk about how to select a collagen product. And people do need that education and that expert advice on what sort of collagen product is right for them. So it's about, again, how can we go partner with a retailer that's going to help that. But if you're a customer of Absolute Collagen, whether that be from our website, Boots, Amazon, you're a customer of Absolute Collagen and you're invited into the same ecosystems and you get the same sort of treatment as anyone else, really. We regularly get customer service questions from retailer acquired customers and things like that, and it's just about making people feel welcome and included.
I mean, customer service is huge, and it has to be huge. I remember when we first started, I'd again reached out to a brand, didn't get any message, and so not only was our community had to be managed, it was we had a phone number and you could phone, you could email, and it, I expected people to get back to me. It really is quite simple. You wouldn't knock on the door and nobody answer if they were sat there. So why would you do that? Someone sat in the shop, you're going to knock on the door. You will let them in. And some websites feel that they don't. And so, but I do think the landscape's changed a lot. And I do think we've been the forerunners of that, actually.
It's fascinating. This has really been a master class in building like a community-based, high-trust brand, which I think is super interesting. And you are celebrating 9 years now. So congrats on that.
Yeah.
Where, if you look 9 years ahead, where will Absolute Collagen be that would be perhaps even surprising to you?
So globalization is obviously a key strategic pillar for us, but more kind of, I guess, holistically than that is Absolute Collagen is a brand that helps women age powerfully. Age is kind of a little bit not flippant in that, but it's not like a core driver of that. So in which we can help women through supplementation, through skincare, to enable them to feel their absolute best and to age powerfully, to age with confidence. And whatever way that sees them, that is kind of the direction we'll be. We want to show up in more places in her house, in her bathroom, in her kitchen, wherever she might keep her supplement stack. But we want customers to trust supplements and trust supplementation, and how we can kind of be a part of that movement and sort of legislation and getting supplements more regulated is also really important for us. So we want to be a brand that is showing up in more places, is appearing in more channels, and really is the forefront of helping, or not helping, but enabling women to age with confidence, really.
Will it always be collagen?
We always talk about this. We have this conversation, the conversations we have all the time is price, aka we pay a lot for our collagen, and then we defend why, and then everyone's okay about it. And this is also the name is Absolute Collagen, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we could easily diverse. It's just Absolute Collagen with a plus sign.
Yeah,
that easy.
Okay, so my constant final question is, what is your number one trade secret?
Ooh.
Some method or insight or some rule of thought that helps you and has helped you build a company?
Speaking, this might sound really basic, but speaking to customers, even away, we do so many interviews, we do so much qualitative work, so much quantitative work, but genuinely picking the phone up and speaking to customers is like the biggest thing you can do. And you get the small nuggets of information that you can then stress test on a bigger audience for sure. but they give you absolute gold dust just by speaking to them. And even getting them in a room and chatting and just listening to what they're saying is honestly fundamental to Absolute Collagen.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
No.
But then also we know the business better than anyone else, don't we? And we know the customer better than anyone else. And it's always kind of, as the business grow, and just making sure that everyone's aligned on the same page. Otherwise, people can spiral off and go into their own world, usually because they come here because of a talk Maxine's done, a talk I've done. They understand why we're here as a brand, and because they're so passionate, because employees are so passionate about it, they'll get 50% of the story right about why we're here, but then 50% of it can be kind of fabricated and it's their views, because we are an emotional-led brand, and getting that written down on paper has been really helpful for us.
All right. Thank you so much for joining today. Where can people find out more about you and about Absolute Collagen and what's up next?
Well, it's Absolute Collagen website, or Darcy Laceby on our Instagram. She's doing quite a lot, and TikTok. And Maxine Laceby's mine.
Yeah, don't LinkedIn us. That's not going to work. But drop us a DM.
Don't do LinkedIn.
Drop us a DM on Instagram and we'll reply.
Yeah. I must put that in every podcast, actually, because I hate LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's now AI speaking to AI. It's
people trying to sell you stuff.
It's dying quickly, it seems.
Yeah.
All right. But again, thank you so much. This has been absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna listen to this several times. It's like I said, it's true masterclass in I honestly didn't realize the amount and thought and work they get into, like actually cracking subscription. It's not an easy thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.